Sausage. Hello, and welcome to another episode of First, the show where I, Marcus Nez, gives you my first impressions on a game. And this here episode is all about the King of Fighters 15. And I know what you're all thinking right now. You're not even holding your breath or trying to be kind. You're saying to yourself, haha, first, this show should be called Sucks because you suck at this game. Yes, if you are watching the video version, you are indeed seeing me suck at this game. I am, in fact, mutton bashing. I'm mutton bashing. You fucking mutton? What a shit food, man. Mutton. Who likes mutton? No one. Your grandmother. Your grandmother likes mutton. And you know what your grandmother is? A fucking idiot. Got him. I've never had mutton. I don't think I've had mutton. I also don't think your grandmother's anything other than the sweetest lady, I'm sure. I mean, maybe she's a racist, horrible person. I don't know. I don't want to say that she might be, but you know, we all got our secrets. On this. You might be able to tell that I am not a fighting game aficionado. First, I'm sorry to your grandmother. I'm sure she's lovely. I am sorry just in general. You know who I am by this point. But I struggled with whether or not I should do a video for this game because I am not that versed in the fighting game genre. I've never been the hugest fan of fighting games, but I do love certain series and certain games. I am a big Virtual Fighter fan, and I love me some Marvel vs. Capcom, and then I dabble here and there. I've enjoyed Mortal Kombat, not really a huge Street Fighter fan. I loved Tekken Tag Tournament, not any of the others. When I played Soul Calibur, it seemed like a good time. Dead or Alive, not much of my jam there. Killer Instinct, not really. Power Stone, yeah, but Power Stone is more of a arcadey party game. And then, I don't know, Turtle Champions. I liked the Turtle Champions when I was a kid, but I don't know if that was actually a good game or not. In the fighting game scene, I don't know what people actually think of that game. And you know, so on and so forth. Clay Fighters, whatnot. This is a very long amount of time to go without talking about the actual game that this episode is about. But I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, there is someone who is like me and hasn't been in the scene for a while. I also haven't played a fighting game in the longest time. Part of it is because I don't own a fighting stick for the current platforms. I had one for 360, but I never got one for Xbox One, and therefore I don't have one for the Series X and so forth. And you know, nothing for PlayStation either. And I am a big proponent of fighting sticks with fighting games, even ones that are designed around controllers. Supposedly, I still find them to not feel right. It's like how some people just can't play racing games without a steering wheel. Anywho, I thought to myself, if I want to make an episode about this game, I should do it without ever talking about it because I don't really have anything to say about it because I'm an idiot. But just in case there's someone who's like me and for some reason the King of Fighters 15 just drew them in, it is what made them say, hey, I think I want to get back into fighters. I don't know. I was gonna say fighting scene, I guess, and then I just went fighters. I'm just trying to make this enjoyable for y'all because we all know you're not gonna get any useful information. How many times can I just shit on myself in this episode, and how much of a waste of time this all is? Keep count, baby, because we're not done yet. But I thought, just in case there is someone who fits those bills, who fits that bill, there aren't multiple bills. Clinton, if there is someone like that, there might be value in a fellow newcomer, oldcomer coming back, etc., giving their thoughts on this game. So I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna spend too much time doing all that because I don't have any in-depth points to make really, because I'm not a fighting game person through and throughout, whatever. So first and foremost, it is good looking, but I was blown away by it. I don't know what the consensus is out there in terms of how this game in particular is considered visually, because I look at fighting games and they're usually games that I'm like, okay, if nothing else, they're going to be pretty. And this game's pretty, but I was only impressed by the visuals when doing a level 3 special attack. Because you have a little power meter that you can build up to power level 5. But this just means you have that much power in you and then can use it to do a level 3 attack. And they vary in terms of their fidelity, how high they are and whatnot. And the level 3 ones, they look pretty cool and they're fun. And they're great if you land them, if the AI isn't blocking, because the AI is very good at blocking. Way better than I remember any other game in terms of AI being able to block like crazy, even in the early stages when you'd think the AI should just be a pushover. But that was the only time I was impressed visually. There are a lot of characters, which is nice. I didn't think there were going to be that many characters in the game to start. I think there are close to 40 in the base game, and then there are however many in DLC or whatever. I did not recognize a lot of them. So I'm not that versed in the world of the King of Fighters. I thought I knew more than I did, and maybe I do, and there's just a lot more that have been added since the last one I played, but there were plenty that I'm like, I don't know who the hell this is. Oh, this is just like that character from this other series. Here, there's a character called Ryo, who is so obviously an amalgamation of Ryu and Ken and plays exactly like them. I wish the person who was telling me and giving me some pointers told me that I should just play as them, because they control like Ryu and Ken and look like them, and they're just Ryu and Ken. So I would recommend Ryo, Ryo, for anyone who wants a bit of familiarity if they're jumping into this for the first time, having not played a King of Fighters game in a while. They're very accessible, and I did relatively well with it. But moving on to the gameplay. So I had an okay time with it that varied and had its highs and lows. When I was playing as Ryo, I had some pretty high highs. And I also liked this dinosaur dude. They were fun. I guess they're called King of the Dinosaurs or King Dinosaur. I don't know. I don't remember. There are a lot of characters. I think it was some dumb name like that. But I enjoyed them as well. The big characters are kind of fun just because they're big and whatnot. But the game feels, and my friend who is a very big fighting game fan confirmed this, it feels like a much more technical fighter than other fighting games that I've played. And not the best fighting game for someone who hasn't been in the scene for a while and is looking to jump back in. There are plenty of other options out there, like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. I think Virtual Fighter's on the technical side. And for whatever reason, that's one that I just got drawn to because I love playing as I forget his name, but the Drunken Master dude. I loved him so much that I decided to learn all his combos and all that stuff. But like King of Fighters 15 feels like a game you really have to take the time to invest in learning all the mechanics and how to get past a block and perform and land combos successfully, because it does not feel the best suited for button mashing. They do have an auto combo system, which is nice, but it's very, very, very particular in when it will actually start to go into effect, as in you have to be literally right on top of the other player in order for the auto combo to start and initiate and go through the whole process. And by auto combo, I mean you can just spam the light punch, I believe is the attack you use, and you just keep pressing that button over and over and over again if you are in the correct vicinity, which is basically, again, just on top of your opponent, and you will go into a basic combo attack that will end in a special attack of whatever power you currently have saved up. But if they're blocking, even the special attack will be blocked and you will waste all that power, which happened to me plenty of times, and it was really frustrating. But it was more frustrating how finicky the auto combo system was, just because I would be doing really, really well as Ryo, and then I'd get my power level meter up to 3, and I wanted to land a special attack, so I'd get in close when I was playing more strategically and safer and just being more smart about fighting, but I wanted to see the special attack. So I tried to get in and do this auto combo, and you know what? In an hour and a half of playing the game, I landed multiple special attacks, and they were all cool. I never landed one with Ryo. The game was just trying to fucking piss me off, and you know what? It did, because when that happened to me for like the 6th time of dying as Rio, not able to land a special attack because I just kept getting damaged and it wouldn't initiate the auto combo, I quit the game. That's what made me rage quit. Those were all the lows. Every time I tried to fucking get a special attack done with Rio and couldn't. But it seems like a solid game. It runs really well. I'm playing it on the Xbox Series X and looks good, even though it's not the most impressive game or doesn't have the most flair or style. It still looks pretty good overall. The music's good. I like the announcer dude. I wish there was more of him. I think the person who did the voice work for that really had fun with it and did a good job with all those things, because when you're fighting an opponent, they'll get a little like backstory. Those are fun. I think there's a decent amount of charm there, and probably if you are a fan of the series and know all these characters, there's much fun to be had there. Also, I didn't mention this, but the way the fighting is structured is that you select 3 characters and fight against your opponent. When your current character dies or gets knocked out, nobody's dying, but when they get knocked out, your next character comes in. You can't switch between them in the middle of a fight, so it's not like Marvel vs. Capcom or anything like that. You do get the opportunity to select the order before every fight, so you're not stuck to a specific order at the beginning of like a tournament run or your story run or whatever. The story mode had a few cutscenes and whatnot, and I thought it was going to be a bit more involved than it actually turned out to be. I did not even attempt online play because I'm not crazy. I think the tutorial is not the best for newcomers because it expects you to at least know some things going in, or expects you to maybe jump in and just try the game before messing with the tutorial, because while it does provide you with basic information and basic inputs, it doesn't tell you what every button does right from the start. So while it first gives you basic movement, just telling you how to like dash or whatever, it then starts to complicate it with multiple input moves that require pressing the light punch and the light kick or something of that sort together, and it shows those icons, but it doesn't tell you what button is associated with those. So you have to do a bit of experimentation, which doesn't take that long, obviously, to just press these buttons and figure out which attack they're talking about and what button is associated with that. But it does mean the tutorial wasn't completely thought out for the newcomer. So that was a bit frustrating and a little disappointing. But overall, it seems like a good fighter. I'm just not the person who should be talking about it realistically. I've rambled on for a long time. This is one of the longest, if not the longest episode of First to Date. And it's about a game, a genre that I know very little about and can provide very little valuable information about. But I hope, if nothing else, you've enjoyed some of the silliness I had in this episode. I hope if you are well-versed in the genre, you appreciate that I did give it a shot. I gave it an hour and a half of my time, tried to get into it, and it just never clicked. And if you are a fellow fighting game retiree looking to come back and make your triumphant return, I hope you found some valuable information here as well. But that will do it for this episode of First. Once again, I am Marcus, and as y'all can find me on Twitter and pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage if you'd like to see me streaming games like the King of Fighters 15, and I swear other games I'm much better at it than this one. You can do that though over at twitch.tv/PX Sausage. If you'd like to see the videos I make and aren't already doing so, you can do that over at youtube.com/pixelated sausage. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, baby, and all that jazz. That is again youtube.com/pixelated sausage. Speaking of pixelated sausage, put a little dot and com after that, and what do you got? You got my website. That's right, it's a little site with webs all over. There are spiders. I should probably get the exterminator to kill them, because man, there's just webs all over that place. This is a fucking terrible joke. This is not even worth calling it a joke. But that is my site, pixelatedsausage.com, where you can find more stuff like this, as well as the art I'm making. If you see something you like, you can purchase a print of the piece you fancy. And if you fancy the site in general and anything that we do, please go over to patreon.com/pxs and support us that way. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoyed this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Bye!
Right on that. Buster!